My name is Spy, and today's video is sponsored by my first Patreon. Thank you for your support. So just waking up in the morning and starting the day, I decided to do something sensible. Get on my Pteranodon and fight an alpha wyvern. And when I say alpha, I mean ARK alpha. Nice. Next I came to the conclusion that I have enough resources for more alpha kibble, so I decided to go after a wyvern. This was no easy task. I didn't really have an effective way of endorsing torpor to it. All I had was my pike, so I used my pike. And moments later, it was tamed. I named him Furnace. This is probably as good as I will get with a simple pike. I needed something with projectiles. The Primal sniper rifle. To craft it, I require all these resources, which I had, except for sap. So I got to work. To efficiently gather sap, I required two things: a tree sap tap and a tree platform, metal or wooden. However, both of the tree platforms are quite pricey, so I would have to live without. But I had an idea. I'll put on a sap top on this tree near the Arctic, and I'll use a gravel hook later on to pick up the sap. With this, I do not need a tree platform. I tried out my new fire wyvern. It did great damage, but I wanted better. And then I found this Alpha Lightning 95. I brought it over to the highlands, and I unloaded every single piece of narcotic I had. And I got her. I named him Amps, for obvious reasons. And I put him straight to the test. I found this fabled Styracosaurus, level 150, and at the time, this seemed like an easy pickings target, but, you know, bleed. I let it go and I tried to flee, but didn't really plan out so well. Luckily for me, I still had the other one, which died 30 minutes later. Flying around on my Pteranodon, I noticed this 150 level alpha female, and I just could not let the opportunity slip by. I had to get her. Sat them down and immediately got to work getting an egg. Heated it up to the right temperature so it can hatch, and voila, an alpha Pteranodon is born. I felt comfortable enough to go to the next level. Let me introduce you to the Elemental tier. The Elemental class. This class can be separated into two different categories: flyers and swimmers. The flyers, upon death, their bodies can be harvested for feathers, while the swimmers can be harvested for scales. They have a 7.5 times multiplier on all stats, with a 4% chance of spawning. They can be seen as 24 different variants, which are separated into 4 different subclasses, each subclass having 5 flyers and 1 swimmer. I spotted this 135 fire mega raptor that only costed 1 elemental kibble. It was perfect, but I needed to trap it. This was my first design, a few gates and a pillar at the end, where my Pteranodon can easily pass through. The first attempt was not so successful. The mega raptor was just too high, and I needed to adjust the trap. The Mark II trap consisted of a slight slope that's going to be forcing down the Mega Raptor into the trap. However, unbeknownst to me, the real issue was the gate. The Mega Raptor was just too big to fit through it. Finally, the Mark III, after an hour's worth of work, was the only thing that actually was able to bear fruit. The only issue was actually getting the Raptor to stay inside, as I was not fast enough to place the pillar behind it, and it ran off. A few attempts later, I was able to get the Raptor inside, and have the opportunity to place a pillar behind it, just for me to miss entirely, and say, "F it, I'ma just use my darts now." Replaced the pillar right where I wanted, I went and used the trusty pike. Done deal. Now all I needed to feed was one piece of elemental kibble, which I already had made. Now you know the drill. I required 3 pieces of alpha blood, 2 alpha eggs, 5 Amar berries, 1 piece of cooked prime meat, 5 fiber, and 2 savroots. Our first successfully tamed elemental. Now to just clean up after ourselves by taking down the cage, and let's take this thing out for a spin. Immediately, I can notice that this thing is fast, and strong too. It's able to do percentage-based damage. Now, any creature that is not a boss creature can take percentage-based damage. This means it doesn't matter how much health you have, you will die at the same pace as a regular Bronto. As night fell, I stumbled across these two, Apex Indominus Rexes. They are untamable. The only way you can get one is by injuring the female and causing her to lay an egg. Then raising that egg as your own, and boom, you have an Indominus. Now remember when I said about percentage damage? This should be easy. And just like that, the female is dead. Now we just need to grab the egg, and we have our very own Apex. The Apex class. These are proud creatures that roam around the land, with ×10 multiplier across the stats and a 3.5% chance of spawning. They can be seen as 59 different variants. I built this best egg maker, which can be powered by a tech generator or any piece of kibble. It can incubate any type of egg in mere seconds, and also guarantee that it has the best stats if the parents are nearby. I hashed open the egg, and luckily for me, I got twins, both female sisters. This means we have already 2 apexes that can generate us some eggs. I also discovered a little glitch related to Indoms. If they're infants and you soulball them out, they will be instantaneously fully grown and fully imprinted. I'm not sure what causes this, but this is a very fortunate glitch for me. The next morning I had everything I needed for fabled kibble. Now the recipes are going to get more complicated from here on out. We require 2 pieces of raw carrot, 1 piece of prime meat jerky, 10 pieces of fiber, 20 pieces of mejo berry, 3 pieces of apex blood, 2 apex eggs, and 1 elemental egg. All this for 1 piece of fabled kibble. Moments later, I found a max level 150 fabled pteranodon. This is just fate smiling at me at this point. A simple taming helper that drains the food and 3 fabled kibble is enough for me to get this beauty. So let's do this for the 3rd time in this video. Let me introduce you to the fabled class. The fabled class. These majestical creatures have been blessed with Mother Nature's magic and have a 16 times multiplier on all stats. They have a 2.75% chance of spawning and can be seen as 41 different variants. The next morning I crafted an awesome teleporter remote. This will help me traverse the terrains quite easily by teleporting to random public paths around the map. I needed an increase in my elemental egg production, so I went and tamed this ice ARK. It was finally time for me to collect the sap. Unfortunately, I tragically lost my Fire Mega Raptor to a rogue Buffoon Ferox explosion. And finally, I was able to craft this blueprint of an Ascended Primal Sniper Rifle. Once again, and not for the last time in this series, I was on the hunt for a new flyer, and I found this Apex Griffin level 85 female. Time to use this rifle and see what it's capable of. Thankfully, I only missed enough times as I needed to. I decided to call her Moro. Our first activity as partners, I needed to improve my metal farming, so we snatched up this Alpha Anki 45. Scanning the map for something interesting to tame, I found it in max level Alpha Giganotosaurus with 1.7 million wild health. This was huge. I need to get this thing trapped, because if I wish to do reliable torpor, I'm gonna need to land all the shots and not miss a single one. Any opportunity of the Giga to breathe could result in major torpor loss. I utilized the standard bear trap technique, keeping the Giga inside until I can close up the cage, but this Primal Raptor really wanted to interfere, and I did not want to do anything with it, as I'm not strong enough to take it on. Not even close. Now that I got it stuck inside, I need to figure out how do I get it unconscious. With the Primal Raptor out of the way, I was thinking the pike should work, but avoiding its teeth was just not possible. My next idea was definitely a stupid one. I was gonna hope that my Griffin can tank the Giga's damage while I go up close with the pike to knock it out. With the assistance of the healing potion, I thought that this was gonna be a piece of cake. But unfortunately, I lost my Griffin this way. My final idea was to use the Primal Fabricated Sniper Rifle to prevent torpor loss and build a metallic structure that would house me from the Giga's bite. And a few attempts later, we finally had the functioning structure we wanted. Now, don't get me wrong, there were sacrifices along the way, but it was all worth it. There was only one name that this creature can have, the Alpha King. I saddled him up and took him out for a spin, and once I felt comfortable enough, I took him to the first ever boss battle. Saddled up and with potions on backup, I faced the Primal Raptor, 10 million health, and a single bite doing only 14,000. This was gonna last a while. And 38 minutes later, my first Primal was defeated. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a huge achievement. However, the Primal Fear mod contains 7 tiers of bosses, each significantly harder than the last. Thank you guys for watching, and a special thanks to King James Bartholomew III Jr. for being my first Patreon, and to all these people who have helped me with the feedback and the previews of the video. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you on the next one.